Let me ask you something personal. How many times have you sat at your desk, inbox full, calendar packed, boss breathing somewhere close behind you, and pulled up a chart on your phone? Not because someone told you to, not because it was part of your job, but because some part of you was already imagining a life where that screen, those numbers, those green and red candles, were your way out. If that's you, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to tell you is not what the trading courses are selling. It's not the highlight reel. It's not the guy on Instagram showing you his Lamborghini and his brokerage account in the same breath. Write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is, so I can get to know you better. To support the channel for free, don't forget to subscribe and like. What I'm about to share with you is the thing that lives on the other side of all that noise, the thing nobody talks about until after the money is gone. And here's the part that might sting a little. Most people who dream of trading for a living are not held back by their lack of knowledge. They're held back by something they carry into every trade without even knowing it. We'll get to what that is, but first, stay with me, because this might be the most honest conversation about trading you've ever had. And before we go any further, if this is the kind of content that actually speaks to you, the kind that skips the noise and gets to what's real, hit subscribe and leave a like. Here's what most people believe about trading for a living. They believe it's about finding the right strategy, the right indicator, the right setup. That if they could just learn enough, if they could just watch enough YouTube videos, take enough courses, paper trade long enough, eventually the pieces would click into place and they would cross some invisible threshold from struggling trader to profitable professional. That belief is not entirely wrong. Knowledge matters, strategy matters, but it is dangerously incomplete. And that incompleteness is exactly why so many people go into the stream with genuine effort and come out the other side with an empty account and a bruised sense of self-worth. The trading industry, and I'm going to call it what it is, an industry, has a financial interest in making you believe that what you're missing is a product, a course, a signal service, a proprietary system. Because if the problem is always external, you will keep buying solutions, and they will keep selling them to you. But the traders who actually make it, and they do exist, they are real people, not myths. They will almost universally tell you that the most important battle they ever fought was not on a chart. It was inside themselves. Jesse Livermore, who made and lost multiple fortunes across decades of trading in the early 1900s, wrote something that has stayed with me since the first time I read it. He said that the markets never change because human nature never changes. The fear, the greed, the impatience, the ego, all of it was there in 1907. All of it is here right now, playing out in every retail trader's account in real time. The reason this matters to you, sitting where you are, working the job you want to leave, is that you are not just bringing a strategy to the market when you start trading seriously. You are bringing yourself, all of you, your anxiety about money, your ego wrapped up in being right, your impatience when a trade moves slowly, your panic when it moves against you. And the market, that cold and completely indifferent mechanism, will find every single one of those pressure points. Not because it's cruel, because that's just what it does. It reflects you back at yourself at the worst possible moment. This is not meant to discourage you. I mean it, truly. Let me tell you about a version of a story that plays out every single day. Someone, let's call him Marcus, has been working a corporate job for 7 years. Good salary, stable, completely unfulfilling. He starts trading on the side about 2 years in. He reads books, he watches videos, he spends weekends studying charts like they're scripture. And for a while, it works. Small wins, consistent enough to make him feel like he's cracked something. He starts tracking his results, he's up maybe 30–40% in a year. And then the thought arrives, what if I just did this full time? He runs the numbers. He thinks, if I can do this part-time with limited focus and still be up 40%, imagine what I could do if this was my whole life. If I gave it everything, if I didn't have to check charts between meetings. So he saves 6 months of expenses, he tells his wife, he gives notice, and on the first Monday of his new life as a full-time trader, something happened that nobody warned him about. The pressure changes everything.
When he was trading with money he didn't desperately need, when the job was still there as a safety net, he could let a trade breathe. He could accept a small loss without it meaning something. He could be patient because patience wasn't costing him his mortgage. But the moment the trading account became the only account, the moment that money became rent, groceries, health insurance, he stopped trading like a professional and started trading like someone who was afraid. And fear in trading is not a minor inconvenience.
Here's the mindset shift that separates the traders who make it from the ones who don't. Most people approach trading as a way to make money. The professionals approach it as a way to manage risk. Read that again because it sounds simple, but it rewires everything. When your primary focus is making money, every trade becomes about being right, about winning, about extracting something from the market. And that orientation, that grasping, hunting energy, is precisely what the market punishes most severely. When your primary focus is managing risk, something fundamentally different happens. You stop asking, how much can I make on this trade? And start asking, how much am I willing to lose if I'm wrong? You stop holding losers, hoping they'll come back. You stop skipping your stop loss just this once. Because the question is no longer about being right. It's about surviving long enough to let your edge play out over hundreds of trades. This is what Livermore meant when he talked about making peace with uncertainty. Every trade is uncertain. Every single one. The professional is not the person who has found a way to eliminate that uncertainty. The professional is the person whose entire framework is built around acting decisively within it. And here's where this connects to something deeper than just trading. It connects to freedom. The reason you want to trade for a living, the real reason, underneath the money, is probably freedom. Time freedom. The feeling of building something on your own terms, not answering to a structure that doesn't fit the way you think or live. That's a legitimate and beautiful thing to want. But here's the truth about freedom and trading. The freedom you're chasing doesn't come from the account size you think it does. It doesn't arrive at 50,000 or 100,000. It arrives when you have so deeply internalized your process, your rules, your relationship with risk, that the outcome of any individual trade genuinely does not move you emotionally. That is the freedom, not the number, the peace. And paradoxically, that peace is what produces the number. So what does this actually look like in practice? If you are sitting in that 9 to 5 right now, still dreaming, still charting between meetings, here is a realistic, honest roadmap. Don't quit the job yet. I know that's not what the YouTube algorithm wants me to say, but use the job as your greatest asset right now. It gives you the rarest thing in trading, pressure-free capital. Money you don't desperately need is money you can trade correctly. Use this phase to build your track record. Paper isn't enough. Trade real money, but small. Small enough that a bad month doesn't cost you sleep. Document everything, not just your trades, your thinking. Before every trade, write down why you're taking it, what the setup is, what your risk is, what would make you wrong. After every trade, write down what actually happened and how you felt. This is not optional busywork. This is the most important practice in building a professional trading mind. Patterns in your behavior only become visible when they're written down in front of you. Build your survival fund separately. Before you ever consider going full-time, have at minimum 12 months of living expenses sitting in a place that is completely untouchable by your trading activity. This is not pessimism. This is what allows you to trade like a professional instead of a person who's afraid. Define your edge with brutal honesty. Not just, I trade breakouts or I follow the trend. Your edge needs to be specific enough that you could explain exactly what conditions need to be present, what you'll risk, where you'll exit if you're wrong, and what historical evidence you have that this approach works across different conditions. If you can't articulate it clearly, you don't have an edge yet. You have a preference. And finally, respect the time it takes. Give yourself permission to still be learning 2-3 years from now. The traders who burn out fastest are the ones who expected to figure it all out in 6 months. The ones who last are the ones who fell in love with the process, not just the outcome. I want to leave you with something that I've turned over in my mind many times. The market has existed in some form for centuries, long before screens, before algorithms, before Reddit threads and financial influencers. Human beings were speculating, buying low, hoping to sell high, panicking at losses, getting greedy at peaks. The names change, the instruments change. The fundamental psychology does not.
which means that every single challenge you will face on this journey, the doubt, the losing streaks, the moments where you question whether you're cut out for this, every single one of those challenges has been faced before by people who didn't have better information than you, who weren't fundamentally more capable than you, who simply stayed in the work long enough and honestly enough to come out the other side. You're not trying to do something impossible. You are trying to do something genuinely hard, and those are very different things. The dream of trading for a living, of building a life around your own discipline, your own process, your own terms, that dream is real. It is achievable. But it is not achieved through shortcuts or systems or someone else's signals. It is achieved the same way any meaningful thing is achieved, through honest self-examination, through consistency in the small daily practices, through the willingness to be wrong, to learn from it, and to show up again the next morning with a little more clarity than you had the day before. Progress beats perfection, in trading and in everything else. You don't need to have it all figured out today. You just need to take the next step with your eyes open. If this video gave you something, a new way of thinking about this, a sense that maybe the conversation around trading doesn't have to be hype and noise, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling me where you are in your journey. Are you still in the 9 to 5, charting on your lunch break? Have you already made the leap? Are you somewhere in between? I read every comment, and this community, people who are serious about this, who want the truth more than the fantasy, that community is part of what makes this channel worth building. Subscribe if you haven't, like the video if it resonated, and come back because there's more to talk about. The market will be here tomorrow, so will you. Make sure you're a little better prepared than you were